At midnight UTC on Monday, a company in Beijing published the weights of a 2.8 trillion parameter model. Anyone can download it, almost nobody can run it. That gap is what this episode is about. Welcome to Naderu Weekly. I am Nitin. Each week we go through what actually changed in foundation models, then pick one thing apart properly. Every number is sourced in the description, and where we could only find it secondhand, we say so. With me, as always, is Ira, who spends her days serving these models rather than reading about them.
Which mostly means reading error logs about them. Good to be here.
So, 6 things moved this week. 1. Moonshot published the open weights for Kimi K3 at midnight UTC on the 27th. 2.8 trillion parameters, a sparse mixture of experts, reported as the largest open weight release so far. Roughly 1.4 terabytes on disk using 4-bit quantization, a 1 million token context window, and native handling of text, images, and video.
1.4 terabytes is the whole model sitting in memory before it answers anything. Hold that thought.
2. And this is what makes the first one interesting. Meta released its first paid close model. The company that did most to make open weights a Western default has moved the other way, with reporting suggesting the focus shifted to monetizing the inference layer. 3. Prices fell hard. 3 flagship tier releases landed inside about 24 hours, and output token prices in the new tier are reported around $4 to $6 per million against 25 to 50 for the previous generation of flagships.
That's about a fifth of what the same tier cost.
4. Anthropic released Claude Opus 5 on the 24th at $5 in and 25 out per million, half the price of Fable 5, and it went to the top of the public leaderboards. 5. A quieter one that matters more than it sounds. The GPT 5.5 reasoning tiers have been marked deprecated, while still being sold at 5 and 30. And 6. DeepSeek V4 reached general availability, retiring the previous API in the process.
That's the one that catches people. We'll come back to it.
Ira, put 1 and 2 together. The largest open model in history ships from Moonshot the same month Meta goes closed. What's actually happening?
2 things are happening, and they only look like one story. The open frontier has moved east. Moonshot, DeepSeek, Z.ai, the open Quen lines, on genuinely permissive licenses. MIT on DeepSeek v4 and the GLM5 line. Apache 2.0 on the open Quen models. Meta has decided the money sits downstream of the weights, and both can be rational at once. Publishing weights is how you buy relevance when you're not the default. Withholding them is how you protect margin when you are.
You said at the top that almost nobody can run Kimi K3. Make that concrete.
About 1.4 terabytes of weights. That's not a download problem. It's a residency problem. The weights must sit in accelerator memory before the model emits a single token. On 80 gigabyte cards, that's 18 of them for the weights alone. Arithmetic on the published figure, not a vendor claim. Then you still need room for the key value cache, and this model advertises a 1 million token context. Long contexts are exactly where that cache grows. You're into multi-node with a fast interconnect before serving one user.
But it's a mixture of experts. I thought the point of that was efficiency. Only a fraction of the model runs for any given token.
That's the misreading I'd most want people to drop. Sparse routing saves compute, not memory. Only a few experts fire per token, so you pay fewer floating point operations. But you can't predict which experts the next token wants, so all of them stay resident. Cheaper to run, no cheaper to hold.
So open weights bought you the right to run it, and the bill for running it stayed where it was.
Exactly. And the same week handed you the alternative. That model's hosted API runs about $3 in, 15 out, with cached input near 30 cents. Further down market, DeepSeek's own page lists their flash tier at 14 cents in, 28 out. Renting isn't a compromise, it's just correct.
Then the question everyone actually has. If renting is cheap and getting cheaper, and self-hosting the big models is this hard, why self-host at all?
Because the argument was never open versus closed. It's about custody. Ask what you need custody of, and the answer usually falls in one of 3 places. First, custody of the weights. Regulated data, air-gapped networks, a review that won't accept egress. That ends the argument. But notice it pushes you toward a model you can actually serve, rarely the biggest one.
That's the one everybody assumes they're in.
Second, custody of behavior. It must answer the same way in 2 years, on your vocabulary, with your edge cases. That's a fine-tuning and evaluation problem. It wants a model small enough to train and pin, with the recipe and eval under version control.
And that's the one people find out about 2 years in.
And third, custody of neither. You need a capability this quarter, and the model is not your product. Rent it. The price war is genuinely on your side, and anyone telling you to buy accelerators for that is selling accelerators.
That third one sounds too comfortable. Is there a catch to just renting?
There is, and this week displayed it. A rented price is dated, not fixed. Look at the headlines. A model marked deprecated while still on the price list. That's your migration, scheduled by someone else. And not only retirements. Anthropic's own documentation says Sonnet 5 is on introductory pricing until the 31st of August, when 2 and 10 becomes 3 and 15. A 50% rise, already on the calendar, in a public document.
And you've told me before that the rate card isn't even the main number.
It usually isn't. 2 examples, both first party. Gemini and Grok step their per token price up above 200,000 input tokens, so the big context window costs double to fill. And Anthropic documents that its 4.7 and later models use a new tokenizer, producing about 30% more tokens for the same text.
30% more tokens for the same words. So a like-for-like price comparison across that boundary is just wrong.
Wrong by about a third, and invisible on every pricing page. It's why we price a workload, not a model. Run your real prompt with your real caching and compare invoices. We've seen the cheaper model per token be the dearer one per job because one provider caches properly.
Let's leave people with 3 things. Ira, first one.
Price the workload, not the model. Your prompt, your cache hit rate, your output length. The rate card is the smallest term in that sum.
Second, decide what you need custody of. Weights, behavior, or neither, before arguing open versus closed. It settles most of it.
And third, pin your model versions and put the deprecations in a calendar. This week alone gave us a deprecated tier still on sale and a price rise dated the 31st of August. None of that arrives by email.
That's the episode. If it was useful, the whole thing is written up on naderu.com, every figure linked, and marked where it's secondhand.
The board is the part I actually use.
We keep a model board there. Every major provider's current and previous models side by side. Price, context, caching behavior, license, each row dated and sourced. Refreshed weekly, and you can get the week's diff as one email. 1 click to subscribe, 1 to leave.
And one thing we should say plainly, Nitin and I are synthetic voices. The research, the arithmetic, and the opinions are the Naderu teams, and the sources are in the description, so you can check us.
Next week, what the tokenizer change actually does to a real bill, measured rather than estimated. Until then, price the workload, not the model. Take care.